Okay, can everybody see my screen okay? Is that a yes?
Yes.
Okay. Renee, are
We
we all
don't
set?
have John yet, though.
Thanks, Renee. And hello to everyone who's tuning in live. During our presentation day, we hope to ignite others to include students in their Destination Imagination program that fall within the 13 categories of special education as defined by the Individuals with Disabilities Education Act, especially those students that may not have the ability to participate independently. And with that, I'm going to turn it over to Michelle.
Okay. And we'd like to start by pointing out that we are parents, not special needs educators or professionals. So we aren't offering this as a case study, but as a possible route on your own district's roadmap to including special needs students into Destination Imagination or other STEAM-based extracurricular programs. On our panel today are members of Centerville City Schools Destination Imagination program. As a DI alumni, Megan Sparks knows the benefits of being a DI team member, and she and her husband, John Sparks, have been DI team managers for 14 years, coaching team members from all levels, from rising stars to senior level. Megan is also the current Centerville City Schools board president. For the past 8 years, they have had their own children in the Destination Imagination program, and their eldest child is special needs. Myself and my husband Harry are the district coordinators for Centerville City Schools, accepting the position in August of 2021. We've been part of the DI community for over 15 years as team parents, team managers, and on the executive board of the Centerville DI Parent Support Group and as part of the Ohio Region 12 board. We are all committed to growing awareness of the benefits of Destination Imagination in our district, and especially within the special needs community. Our goal is to encourage and educate others how to include all types of participants into their programs and tournaments. So back to
So today
Harry.
we're going to review how we came to recognize a need for our program to expand and the steps we took to address that expansion. We'll discuss what a team meeting could look like, how to choose a challenge, how to showcase at your tournament.
So in 2015, a spark of an idea started in the minds of John and Megan Sparks. While volunteering as team managers for their eldest son's Rising Stars team, they realized how much he had benefited from the Destination Imagination program.
Hello, as Michelle mentioned, our oldest son started on the Rising Stars team, which worked out well since there are no, interference policies at that age, or it's very limited. However, once he aged out of Rising Stars portion of DI, we wanted to figure out a way to help him continue in the program, along with his siblings. Zach is a child on the autism spectrum disorder, and he has apraxia, which apraxia is basically a disconnect between his brain and mouth, which limits his ability to form words verbally and speech issues. And like most autistic children, there are social issues. He gets distracted easily and has a hard time focusing on tasks. A lot of one-on-one intervention and assistance is needed for him. He has activities in writing, both letters and numbers. He loves cars and trucks, play with those or draw them. And he enjoys physical activities such as swimming and gymnastics, or just going for a walk. We felt he would benefit most with occupational therapy related issues as a focus to help him from DI because he has sensitivity to materials. And he, along with several of his current, other special needs classmates, would then have exposure to desensitization to, paper mache, Play-Doh, and other activities where you get your hands dirty, as well as other motors related skills such as maybe using a drill or screwdriver, cutting, drawing, painting, or gluing, and expanding those skills from the classroom.
So our special stars are students who spend part of their day in a decided special needs classroom and or need adult assistance to participate. So we'll have some videos coming up later, and you'll get kind of a picture of how the presentations are done and how the adults are helping. As John mentioned, these students may have communication, learning, or physical disabilities. And really, incorporated inclusion is the goal, but our primary emphasis is with the special stars is to give these students the experience of destination imagination when in a situation they're unable to participate in a traditional team setting. We'll talk a bit later about how to determine if a student needs to be on a special stars team, and we'll kind of talk about targeting for traditional teams and kind of what the special needs options are.
I am on mute. I was waiting for him to turn the slide. Sorry. So once we realized that Zach would not be able to participate in a typical team, we realized that there was in fact a need for these type of students. So I approached my former team manager, who is also on our school board and on our regional board, and I threw the idea out at him, and he was very supportive. And he helped me reach out to our regional board president, who contacted DI Inc. to talk about the idea. So, how would your school district get permission? Our recommendation is that you would start with your school district and then go approach your region. Um, should participation, um, sin- sorry, um, our kids stay at our region. We don't go to state. We don't go to globals because um, surrounding the travel and stuff would be an issue for these students. So once you get permission, the next thing would be how would you recruit people? So next slide, please, Harry. Okay, thank you. So let's talk about recruitment. First, we always worked through our school publications. In our district, they sent out an email to everyone who is registered in our district. So I got with our communication expert. She would put that in the email. Special needs social media groups is a great way to get the word out. Word of mouth. I talked about the program at the soccer game, at the baseball game, when you're out hanging out with the other special needs moms. Show interest to the parents who are interested, our videos to the parents who are interested in the program to show how this would work. I would recommend that you keep your team sizes to 2 to 5 members because that seems to work best for our team. It's easier because you can do one more one-on-one, or you'll find out later 2-on-1 with the children, and it makes the meetings less overwhelming. So you're able to provide more attention to each team member, and it's easier to manage, in my opinion. You might find that you love having 7 kids on the team, but from John and I's experience, this 2 to 5 always seems to be a good number. So with that, John's going to talk about which type of team.
So, which type of team should be used? So, Rising Stars, as I mentioned earlier, that should be an integrated team. That's fine. However, once the student reaches the competitive challenge stage, if the child requires an assistance of an adult to participate, similar to the classroom, the child will need to be on a special needs team, in our opinion. If the student is in a typical classroom on an IEP and is only pulled out from the class for services, they are likely able to participate on a traditional competitive team. And with that, I'll turn it over to Megan for benefits to our special stars.
There are traditional limited opportunities for extracurricular activities or after-school programs for special needs groups. Special needs students are normally underserved in communities, which makes them an untapped market. Incorporating a Special Stars program into your Destination Imagination program allows students the opportunity to do the following. Have a non-pressurized peer interaction. With these kids, it's okay if you have a day off. If they just don't want to work, that's okay. Don't work. Let them socialize. That is the main goal for these children, is to work together and socialize and learn the social skills. And don't be afraid to change direction during the meeting. If they do not want to paint, then don't paint. Move on to making costumes or whatever is on your to-do list. That's fine. Spend time during fun activities while learning together. This, in my opinion, is one of the best parts. When we did Monster Mash a few years ago, you had to take two animals and put them together to create a new animal. We ended up going to Young's Dairy, which is a local family-run farm that has cows and goats and all kinds of animals. And the kids really liked going there and getting ice cream and looking at the animals. And then have meetings just for team building. Have meetings where they come over and just hang out and be a team and get to know each other better. Learn real life skills that aren't necessarily taught in the classroom. My greatest example of this one would be the screwdriver. My son, I believe he was 6 or 7 years old. John wasn't home. John and I have 5 kids, so it's usually chaotic in our house. And his favorite toy had just ran out of batteries. And I was cooking dinner and had a little one and a little bouncer in the kitchen. And he kept bringing me the screwdriver, the toy, and I couldn't get it open myself. And I said, "No, Zach, buddy, you got to wait till Dad gets home. I can't." And he was determined. And he went and he sat down with that screwdriver, and he eventually got the back open so I could change the batteries. And I was like, there is DI. That is why my kid does DI. He can use a screwdriver, and in this case, used it better than I did. So that is a great example of why this program really works for the special needs community. They experience teamwork and accomplish things together. Our students love the applause at the end of their performance. Now, you might have a kid that doesn't, and they might have noise canceling headphones, or she may have to leave the performance area after you're done so they don't hear the applause. But the kids that we've had so far in our team love it. They eat it up, and I think that's why they do so well at regionals, is because they know they're going to be clapped for at the end. And then this also expands time on the skills or topics of their interests. We'll talk later about my son's obsession with trucks. And every year he learns more and more about trucks, because every year we have to incorporate trucks into the skits. This year we also did Legos. Our kids were so interested in Legos, so we learned more about Legos. So this is a great opportunity to really dive into their own interests. The next, we're going to be talking about choosing a challenge, which John is going to cover.
So, as you already know, I mean, if you're a team manager, worked with DI, the selection of which DI challenge to work on is important to determine, what content and experience will be learned during the DI practices and eventually through the entire season. We have found that the theatrical, scientific, engineering, and service learning challenges seem to be the best fit for the Special Stars team. The more on-the-spot challenges, to include the instant challenge or improvisational, are probably not recommended because with the case of at least our son and his peers, repetition and habits seem to be the best approach for creating a presentation. Since the improvisational challenge is fluid, it isn't a good choice for Special Stars, where they typically require that item practiced over and over. Also, there are minimal props to work on, and most team members do well with hands-on activities or props to get them interested. Also, for the technical challenge, the complexity of the technical design, usually of a vehicle, has been too daunting to try yet with the teams we've had. This may change as they age, or perhaps when Zach approaches high school. Other than the considerations I just mentioned, we follow the same team challenge selection process as competitive teams. The team members are read or presented with summaries for the challenges of what topics they will learn and are polled on their interest areas. For Special Stars team members that are less expressive verbal, parents provide input as to what areas they have shown interest in. Aspects of the challenge, whether it includes the requirement to build a certain structure or to perform a type of service project, and is also discussed with the team members. Parents will also consider the best aspects to provide an education of the learning topic for the challenge for earlier practices, such as reading through books, watching videos, or by discussions or examples of the key principles. We also encourage the use of expressive skills and consider ways that could be implemented during the season. For example, with Zach, as we mentioned over and over, he likes cars, trucks, Hot Wheels. So over the years, he has learned how to draw them, make replicas out of Play-Doh, and how to make props, using cutting, gluing, tape, painting, to make them look like a real truck, and also what they will be called and how they will be incorporated and integrated into the presentation. There are also examples of use of letters, numbers, and drawings integrated into the solution and performance videos you will see in our sample. One area we do not currently put emphasis on, like a traditional team, however, are the project management, schedule, and goal setting skills. The parents and coach usually keep track to make sure the presentation elements are ready in time for the tournament. And with that, I'll turn it back over to Megan to talk about the team meetings.
Okay, the team meetings. So you want to pick a place where you can manipulate the environment, which will be best suited for the students' needs. Schools aren't always the best place to hold these meetings. Our school, when Zach first started Rising Stars, the hallway was a circle, and in the middle was a courtyard. And so the kids thought that was their personal running track. So the school would not work because it was just us chasing them, trying to get them back to the meeting area. So we moved our meetings to our home, which worked. But we also had to manipulate the environment here. For example, our children used to have a pet hamster. One of our DI kids was obsessed with this hamster. He would always sneak off the meeting to go in the boys' room to get the hamster. So we learned to put the hamster in his little carrying case and hide it in the master bedroom. And during DI practices, it just so happened that the hamster was at a play date at another hamster's house. So that's one example of how you can manipulate your environment to best suit the kids' needs. You want to have breaks during these meetings. A lot of times, if you're having a meeting after school and they've been sitting all day, we say, okay, let's work for 10 minutes and then you can have a 5-minute break. You can work for 10 minutes, have a 5-minute break. Often we also set goals for the end of the meeting. If you guys get this done, then we'll have popsicles, or you guys can play with this new game we bought. Or for that one child, it was you can spend time with the hamster. So you also want visual cues in your scheduling of the meeting. So we always use a picture schedule so the kids know it and this works for our team. It may not work for your team, but our kids are used to having a picture schedule at school. So they say they can, manipulate that. So, okay, we've painted, take that down. It goes in the done bucket. Okay, now we have to work on the tail for the dog. Okay, done. Put it in the little done bucket. Or it could be a checkoff list. They like to know what is expected of them. You want to incorporate team building into every practice. One of the top goals is to work on social skills and building relationships that expand to other areas in their lives. Our team sometimes comes from different schools, but a lot of times we have 2 or 3 kids from this school, 2 or 3 kids from this school. And through DI, we're connecting our community, and then expands into like they know each other then at soccer, or they know each other at basketball. And it really does, because it's such its own community that this is a great way for these kids to get together and build these relationships. So next, we're going to be talking about skill building, which is a great topic. So for skill building, the amount of adult supervision can vary depending on the skill. For example, scissor carrying. This is something we took about 2 years to master. You hold the scissors at the bottom and you walk. You don't open them with them going crazy. That was a one-on-one interaction. My husband is very brave, and he thought the kids could learn how to use a Sawzall. That particular skill, I believe it was 3 dads to 1 student while the mothers were inside panicking. It was a fun night for everyone. So the ratio to adult to child really depends on the skill that you're working on. You plan your skill building on the projects you're going to work on, the kids' interest, and the past experience. So we've gone from scissors in the first year to how to use the hot glue gun to the Sawzall. So skill blockers is our next topic that John will take over and discuss.
So there are just a few considerations to consider for registering, for the regional DI tournament. As mentioned in the team challenge area, the improvisational challenge is not recommended. Up to this point, to reiterate, we've determined the team should not also participate in the instant challenge portion of the tournament for similar reasons. Because of the upfront repetition, team members can get easily distracted from the task at hand. And with parents on stage as well, the coordination needs to be planned out in advance. Instant challenges have not been explored yet or used much in our team practices. We try to focus on the challenge primarily. During our practice, we focus on the areas for skill building and learning more than we do with on-the-spot coping skills or quick thinking activities. And on our next slide, I'll talk a little bit about special stars at the tournament. So at the DI regional tournament, basically the special stars will compete in the same presentation area as the competitive teams. However, they will be listed as an exhibition or showcase team, usually are announced when they start. They are still on the tournament schedule and get the same type of experience as the competitive teams. Also, the special stars are not scheduled to compete in an instant challenge at the tournament, as I previously mentioned, due to interference and on-the-spot considerations. Next, we'll move into the Special Stars Showcase and some more information about that by Michelle.
Thanks, John. As we've talked about before, we're very fortunate that we are supported so thoroughly by our region, our affiliate, and especially by our school district. And we are very fortunate that one of our local team managers is also a challenge master. And Marlena Prale is very invested in the success of our program. She's a parent of 2DI participants. She's an elementary music teacher of 5 self-contained classes of students with multiple disabilities. She's a 19-year scoring appraiser of all levels from regionals to globals. She's a regional and affiliate challenge master and an international challenge master from 2019 and 2020. And each year, when our region does their appraiser training, she gives a session specifically on how to appraise and interact with our Special Stars teams, especially if they require any specific accommodations, such as having sound sensitivities versus needing exaggerated audience applause. Our region itself also verifies accommodations in the prep area to remind appraisers if there are specific environmental or behavioral needs for the students. Our appraiser team also changes the challenge rubric to a feedback form based on the Rising Stars format. So in our next slide, you'll see that this is this past year's um, showcase forms. So Marlena modified the scoring form to make it more conducive to provide the feedback to the team, because it allows the appraisers to celebrate what the team accomplished, provide positive comments about their solution, and provide encouragement with feedback on what the students were able to create and perform. On your screen, you can see examples. On the left is the most current DI rubric, and on the right is the Challenge Master supplied format for our regional tournament. As you can see, it includes elements used in the challenge without the penalties for adult interference or items the teams may not be equipped to handle. So now that we've talked about how to determine if you need special stars or a traditional team, how to set up a team, how to recruit, what a team meeting might look like, how you can get your affiliate to and region to set up a tournament, we'd like to show you some actual videos of several of our Special Stars teams in action. So we do not have audio on these videos. We've kept it out simply so that Megan can give a description and John both, if the, of what's going on. And If you want to see it in the whole, we will provide links later. So at this point, Megan, if you'd like to take it over.
Okay, perfect. So in this video, it was a technical challenge, technical
Engineering, yeah.
engineering. I always get those confused. Sorry, engineering challenge where they had to build a bridge. And so the picture, that's a TV, and our superintendent just said it was a snow day. The kids are so excited that they're getting sucked through the TV, and they're gonna go into Mario World. They were all into Mario Kart that year, and if you can look, they're in their Mario Kart pajamas. Also, you see the parents are on stage. Our parents are super involved. They're super involved in our meetings. They help decide what we're going to do for the meetings. They help, with our nonverbal kids, tell us what their interests are. So if you see, like, we're giving directions to the kids of what to do. Like, don't forget, we have to open up the television to go into Mario World. In the corner, I believe you can see them putting on their costumes. That is them becoming the Mario Karts. So
The backdrop was Mario.
I'm sorry. Yeah, backdrop is Mario. So they're getting the round things in my hand. That is their steering wheel. And so you'll see them race around. The thing in the on the floor was their race track. And then my son, in the front, they drew pictures of which character they were for the Mario Kart. I believe the little girl in the back was Princess Peach. I want to say the little boy was Donkey Kong. I think that was the character he picked. And I think my son there was Mario. So you had to cross things over a bridge, and you'll see that it's going to be Hot Wheels. Once again, we're incorporating their interest into the performance, into our solution. And my son is very into Hot Wheels. He sleeps with Hot Wheels. He showers with Hot Wheels. He always has a Hot Wheel in his hand. So, and then on the top of the Hot Wheel is a picture of a Mario character. So it was the Mario character going over the bridge. So as you can see, there's 101 on parent to child on the stage. That's true throughout our meetings too. So
about the chopsticks.
Oh yes,
Yeah.
thank you. So our bridge is made from chopsticks. The little girl, if you can see, her family is from Vietnam, so that is a material that she uses all the time in her home. It was very familiar to it, and it was something that she brought to our team that year to the table. So we used chopsticks, and I believe a paper towel roll, and you can see there that the cars are going to go over the bridge. Please ignore the fact that I broke the bridge. The kids actually worked better than I did. So, and then we had since our kids were unable to memorize a script, we found the Mario music, old Nintendo music online. And so that's playing in the background. You'll see a lot of our performances we do with music and no words. So, anything else?
That's probably it.
I think that's it for
We'll
this
move on, Harry.
video. Sorry, I had technical difficulty there. Okay, so this is a service learning year. So this year we made mats for the homeless or people experiencing homelessness in our community. My son had done this at church, and when we decided to do service learning, I reached out to the person at church who had done this with the kids and asked if she could come over and help my DI team do it as well. So this is a year that we only had 2 kids on our team, my son who's nonverbal and his friend. Once again, he was unable to memorize lines or scripts. So we have music going on the background. If you see, our backdrop is really simple. It's just cardboard that they cut and they glued gallon milk container lids on to be the windows. So the little boy on the ground is someone who's experiencing homelessness. And then my son, who's wrapped in bubble wrap, was supposed to be his thought bubble. So to bring awareness, which was a requirement of the challenge, they decided that they were going to do a crossword puzzle. And so the boy in the red in a minute will lay down and start reading the newspaper and doing the crossword puzzle. My son is obsessed with writing. He loves writing. So he wrote out all the crossword puzzle questions, which you'll see in just a moment. He's going to hold up, there we go, the poster board up, and that's the question. So the audience can read what the question is. And then on the back of the question, we put the color. And so he knew to come out from behind and what color post-it note to take down to reveal the correct answer. So there he is.
Also obsessed with trash cans.
Yes. Oh, he was obsessed with trash cans. He still is. And so that was actually a trash can from his room that was full of stuffed animals. So that was the storage container for his room because he really likes trash cans for some reason. So, and then you see in the little shopping cart is the mat that they made, which was a great gross motor skill that they worked on over, under, over, under. It also helped with vocabulary because Zach was working on prepositions and what they meant at the time. So saying going over and under helped him as well. So
It's probably good on this.
yeah, I was, so Ian, or the little boy there, is going to unravel the mat that they created. And he's showing the audience what someone in real life, they actually made a child's mat. The church does 2 different sizes, adult and child. And so that's actually one that a child would sleep on, which is lighter for them to carry around than a thing of carpet, I've heard, and it's a lot lighter. So excellent. Thank you, Harry. And then our last one is the one that we've done from this year. Harry really likes that Mario Kart one. I don't blame him. That was a pretty cool year. So this is another service learning year we did. And what they did was that they created dog toys. I had a parent go on Facebook to a buy nothing, sell nothing group. She asked the community if they had any old t-shirts that they could donate that they no longer wanted. So we got a lot of t-shirts, and they used a braiding technique to make dog bones. That was great gross motor. Once again, learning how to go over and under. So the little boy on the floor, he was obsessed with dogs. So he was a dog in the skit. And the boy in the yellow, I think he has dogs at home. So all the children loved it. Oh, here comes the truck. Once again, here's the theme. My son was the dog catcher, so he's really into trucks. So we had to put the truck in. If you look at the background, so like John said in the beginning, our son could write, the word truck, draw trucks, but now we've expanded over the years. And on the very back, you probably can't see it, but it's a city map. And so he drew the city map. He glued the city map on. They made a tree out of leaves. So you really do see the skills expanding and getting better and going more in depth each year. Now, heads up, word to the wise, after he learned that skill, he would get up in the middle of the night, cut up paper, and glue them to his bedroom door. So be aware of what you're teaching your child.
Just like computer paper either.
Yeah,
Any
just
paper.
any paper. I lost a lot of paperwork in the middle of the night to being cut up and glued to the bedroom door.
So I set our bills out.
Yeah, so just be mindful of what you're teaching them and how they can apply it to things outside. So they switched to go to Lego World there. Yeah, the little boy who's a dog, the truck became the dog cage. And then on the back is the pictures of when they actually went and visited the Humane Society and handed out the dog bones. So that was another fun activity the kids did. They got to go meet the dogs that they were serving. And so they brought it, as a part of their presentation.
About Arthur too.
Oh, so this year we were able to take our team to state only because state was held in our hometown and they were a showcase team. One of our students did the program, even though he knew he wasn't going to be at the tournament because he saw the value of the program. But it just so happened the little boy who was playing the dog on stage wasn't able to make it to state. So they were able to switch roles. So everyone got to participate that year, which is awesome. The parents are all wearing black that year because we thought that would make us not stand out as much. Also know your kids really well. There was a big lag between when we started performing and when the last team was finished. And so the whole audience started singing The Wheels on the Bus because we knew our kids loved that song and that kept them entertained. In a minute, you will see my son next to me. I'm kind of struggling with him. He found out that there were elevators on the other side of the door, another one of his great obsessions. And he's trying to leave the stage in order to get to those elevators. So be mindful if you're able to go see your performance areas beforehand in our district or region. We could do it the night before. I suggest to do that. I should have paid closer attention and used the stairs so he was unaware that there's an elevator, but it would be really hard because they're all over St. Clair. I think anything else you want to add about that? Oh, that's the little boy right there. That's him doing, he's demonstrating how they would weave it and how they tore it apart. And that was really good gross motor build skilling, having them rip it apart. So that was a good challenge for them. Anything else?
That's it.
Is that okay?
Great. Thank you so much, John and Megan, for all of your insights. Again, the videos will be posted. We did not provide them with audio for this format simply because, as Megan said, several of her team members are nonverbal, so they do use music. And since we obviously don't have rights to that music, we didn't want it, you know, put up on the Ignite site. So we hope you've not only been touched by watching these amazing kids, but that we've ignited some sparks in each of you to reach out to this underserved and untapped market. One reason we've had the opportunity to do this is simply because our region and school district have been so incredibly supportive. Now, don't misunderstand us. It has not been smooth sailing to launch this program. John and Megan heard no plenty of times, but they remained dedicated to their idea, thought and worked outside of the box to get the necessary approvals. And we're now 7 years down the road and still finding the journey to be challenging. But any tours have only made the trip that much more interesting for the team managers, the adults, everyone involved. As we're all aware, as with any program, recruitment is key. It's imperative to get word out to the families. Advertise through any special needs networks in your district or community. Check Facebook for any groups that may be formed within your school district. When recruiting, reach out to your school's special education staff and administrators. And keep in mind, this is also a great time to solicit those same folks to become team managers. One thing we have heard from these families is that cost is always a big consideration to them. They often have extra expenses, whether it be medical, therapeutic assistance, and they don't always have the money for extracurricular activities, even if they are available to their children. This year, our parent support group was able to help out with the costs for these students. And this past May, our Centerville Noon Optimist Club gave us a scholarship fund to help defray future expenses. So be sure to reach out to your community organizations. As we often say, it never hurts to ask. If you'd like to get a closer look at some of the documents and videos we've shown, please visit our website and look under the Ignite 22
Thanks.
tab.
So,
And
where do we
that
go from here?
address will be
Well, we
provided
plan to
on our next
continue trying to
screen. So
grow
get
this
ready to
segment of our
write it
program.
down,
And our big picture hope in
and
the
I'll
coming
toss it
years
back to
is to have
Harry.
a stronger tie in between our program and our school district. Our small picture hope is to create stronger tie ins between our special stars and our traditional challenge teams, and within our teams overall by setting up buddy teams so that interested teams can learn from each other. So, if you're interested in more information, as Michelle said, we've got our email, centervilledI2@gmail.com, if you'd like to reach out to us. And then we also have this information posted on our website at centervilledI.com. So with that, do we have any questions?
It looked as if there were some in the, I'm trying to get that thing to come up. There we go. Okay. Yes. Yes. Um, it came from the regional level. It was actually created by the challenge master for the challenge that the kids did this year, our service learning challenge master. And so she basically just took the information from this year's service learning challenge and reconfigured it using the Rising Stars feedback form. So we do have a PDF of that just so people can see, what she did. So that is up on our website. John and Megan, how is that handled? Do the appraisers come up and talk to the kids?
Yeah, so
Since
the
I
parents
mean,
are
some
still
of them are nonverbal.
yeah, the parents still stand by the students after they come up and look at the props closely, and then the parents tell them what they did. Um, Sometimes Zach tried to use sign with them, and then I would be his interpreter and tell the appraisers what he was trying to say. So the parents are there's always communication between the parents and the students and the appraisers. So we get post-it notes back, and it's always positive feedback. We never get, you know, negative. It's always like, I liked your truck and I liked your Lego head, and oh, I always wanted to be a dog when I was a kid. Stuff like that. So did I answer the question? Good. Okay.
Yeah. hmm Yeah, and Becky, that is awesome. That's great that they went to globals too. It's not that we don't want our special stars to compete. We, our end goal is inclusion. So if the kids get to the point where they can um, function independently, I guess would be the word, without the adult assistance, then we do put them on an integrated team. We do have kids on traditional teams that are on IEPs, that are on 504 plans. Um, the special stars are basically set aside for the kids who really want and need to have this experience, but they just cannot do it without the adult assistance, which once the kids get into the competitive challenge stages is considered interference and would then work against the team. So that is the, main reason we have made the distinction. But otherwise, yes, we have also had children on, well, we had children that just went to globals a month ago that are on IEPs in our school system. And they competed and placed in the top 10 with their teams. So it is just an incredible way to allow these kids the opportunity.
That would be Michelle.
Okay, I was waiting to see if anyone else wanted to answer. Um, well, first of all, we here in Centerville, we have a parent support group, which we sort of equate it to like a PTO. It's We are a completely volunteer organization. Um, while we do have a few teachers who act as team managers, the probably 98% of our team managers are parents. So we're completely volunteer organization pretty much. And within the organization, we have set aside a parent support group so that the team managers don't have to spend additional volunteer hours trying to fundraise, organize the activities that take place during the year. Um, so our parent support group within itself does some fundraising, um, and that's where some of the funds came from this year. And then I also reached out to community organizations. Noon Optimists are in a lot of communities across the US. And since they are a youth based organization, they're very open to supporting people, within the school and the kids. So, that's where we have our
No, I mean,
upcoming
you know,
scholarship funds
fundraising is
coming
always a
from,
key
is
issue for
from
this
our
program,
Centerville Noon
and so we
Optimists.
work throughout the year
And
to
so,
raise funds to support our teams and our team managers
Harry, do you have anything you
and the
want to add
program
on
as a
that
whole.
one?
So, again, it's that community outreach and looking at finding partners in the community that will help support the DI program and support the kids. So.
Yep. And I believe, is it later today, Renee, there is a session on grant writing. And I think that they're actually going to discuss, reaching out to community organizations and how to frame your requests. And so that might be well, I know I'm going to be taking into that one, but in our program, our philosophy is always it never hurts to ask. The worst people can do is say no, and then it never hurts to ask them again a different way. So we just keep going at it. Right.
Do you mean like help with our team? So, like I said before, a lot of our kids are in the same classroom, and I have, for like behavioral management, I have reached out to the teacher. I can't ask about specific students because it's privacy, but I could be like, I'm really dealing with a running issue. How can I solve this? And so much the higher, but it's the individual teachers that I've reached out to, and they've given me advice, but I never used a specific student because once again that goes against privacy issues. But like the visual chart was from a teacher, try your visual schedule. So if I have issues, I'll go to them, but um it's mainly John and I. But once our parents are staying for all the meetings, so discipline a lot of time goes back to the parents. Like the kid with the hamster, his mom often would take care of the situation. Like, kid, come back out. You have to be in DI, not the hamster. So that's one benefit of having the parents stay. And they know their kids' IEP. And by the end of the season, we're all friends and we can share. We often talk about our IEP meetings and stuff actually during the meeting. And I also want to add one of the key elements for this program is how much support we have had from Harry and Michelle. Our regional or our district regional people are very, very supportive. And I don't think if we've had that type of support, we would have been able to expand like we have. So did you want to add anything?
No, I think you covered it.
Okay.